for your life. Run for your life. Run for your life. Run for.
Oops, that was the wrong one. Shit. Yep. So, there we are. Welcome everyone.
Awesome.
Should be live. Everything running smooth. Take over.
So are we starting?
Yep. It's running fine. Everything is clear. You can go ahead.
So welcome everyone for today's race of the ORL Champions League event number 2, I guess, because I'm guessing because obviously you know that we've had multiple postponements and a few cancellations of the races, but I feel like, and I'm fairly sure that it's the event number 2 after we tried to run 2 races in Portimao and at Suzuka during the first set of during the first event of the playoff stage. And we managed to run 2 races at Portimao, and we decided that tonight we're going to do just 1 race to make sure that everything works fine, and we're going to race in China.
Turn on your camera. I'll do like this then.
Oh, yeah.
That is running fine. Welcome there. Now you can see us as well.
Exactly.
Actually, let me turn on the
We
lights as
forgot
well.
about that one. But yeah, we are obviously. I'm Julio Massa. I'm joined again by Max in the caster booth for tonight's race, and we'll quickly let you know that we're again racing at China. We're going to do a full qualifying session. So Q1, that will take us 18 minutes, then Q2, that will take us 15 minutes, then Q3, that will take us 12 minutes, and finally we will finish everything with a 50% race distance around the Shanghai International Circuit. If we can show you the track map, that would be fantastic.
Sure.
I guess.
Can do that. There we go.
It's obviously one of the more interesting tracks. I mean, I quite like this circuit. It's nice, it's flowing, it's fast. It has a brilliant long straight that gives you great overtaking opportunities into turn 14. It is very tough on tires, so strategy could be an interesting situation, but many people tend to not like this circuit. So what is your opinion about the circuit?
Personally, I'm not the biggest fan of it. Must have to say, probably mainly due to the snail-like first sector we got with turn 1 and 2. Definitely, yeah, great overtaking opportunities on the 2 big straights you have, especially on the very long one. Really having to nail your exit there in order to, just get the momentum out. Even have some slight banking, which makes it a little bit easier for you. But yeah, the midfield, again, not really my personal favorite, but you really have to nail your setup right so that you can stick to the guy in front of you, so you can set up your move on the straightaway. So it will be interesting to see.
Yeah, it's interesting to see and interesting to obviously watch the races sometimes, maybe even more often than not. You obviously have probably one of the maybe even more interesting overtaking opportunities on the circuit into turn 6, the hairpin at the end of the first sector, the beginning of the second sector. That one is maybe overlooked because you don't have a DRS zone going into that corner, but I still feel like you can actually pull off quite interesting moves. And you know, everyone I think remembers Dan Ricciardo pulling off a great move on Valtteri Bottas during the 2018 race, or Sebastian Vettel doing the same on Daniel Ricciardo in 2017. So that was actually all in turn 6. Maybe let's just show everyone the lineup for tonight. Obviously, the team's lineup are the same as last time out, but we have different drivers.
So there you have the
And,
lineups.
Yeah, obviously we have Aston Martin starting with, again, probably the most known lineup of Andrei Tarabukin and Daniele Haddad. But I got an info that Daniele Haddad is actually maybe a bit of a question mark, so we'll see if it's actually Daniele Haddad or one of the reserve drivers driving. I guess that everything will be clear by the beginning of the race. That's what I was told, because Daniele wasn't sure if he was going to take part. Then we have Dynamo Moscow taking place, or driving in the Haas team. So we have Buchenkov and Tsvetkov in that team. We also have Red Bull Racing with Schluter and James Doherty. So obviously the well-known TRL Limitless. I'm sorry, I'm losing my I would say consonants or whatever. We obviously have Royals Esports at Alfa Romeo, and we have Alonso and Giraldo tonight. We obviously also have the team that is driving a Mercedes, and that is the team. Obviously, I forgot what that team is, and I have to use my beautiful sort of help sheet. I'm sorry, that is TF10 team, obviously, and tonight they should drive in. They should drive with Via Campa and VR, so two Spanish drivers. Then we have a team that is driving a Ferrari, and these guys are Formula Virtual Racing. We have two drivers again that are racing tonight. It's Dejuan and Mena. We have the Williams team that is. Yeah, we have Team Somnium that is driving Williams, and that is Puerto and Rodriguez. We have McLaren with Danny Beresnay, actually, and Sabo Kani tonight. We obviously also have a very good team that is driving Alpha Tauri's FuturEsports, something like that. I hope I pronounce it well, obviously. That is the Hungarian team driven tonight by Sela and Puki. And to finish everything off, we have Alpine team driven by obviously the LR team. And tonight they are taking part with a lineup consisting of Perez and Alberoa. I think I made it right. I hope I didn't mess up too many pronunciations, so at least if I mess up someone's name, I'm sorry in advance, but I'm not a fluent speaker of all of these languages, obviously. So yeah, what do you think, Max, what we'll see tonight? Because tonight we have probably the most interesting race possible. We have only one race with long qualifying session, with everything like that. And what do you think will happen tonight?
I think again, just like the last round, it will be a really close race. I'm actually gonna take the opportunity to also show you the current standings updated after the last race, since I feel that's quite fitting right now.
Yeah.
Wait, teams, there you go. Yeah, obviously you have in the front FuturEsportS with 75 points, followed up by Red Bull. Yeah, it will be interesting to see. I mean, from Portimao, we saw that Red Bull have a really strong lineup. Wondering how much they can maybe gain up to FuturEsportS, or maybe even potentially lose. We'll have to wait and see how that turns out. But since, yeah, I'm still fairly new here, so trying to make up my mind of people, which teams are strong, which teams are more in the making. Yeah. But all in all, I'm just expecting a really tight race, especially at the front in a smaller pack, and then obviously a really big midfield pack, which is going to be really heated up.
So we'll see. Obviously, we're still waiting for a few drivers, am I right?
Yeah, let me quickly check. We currently have 18 people
18.
in here.
Okay,
And
so we're just a few seconds.
And I'll
Yeah.
also use that time then to quickly run our sponsors through, so we're done with that. And see you guys in a short bit.
Cool.
We're back. So, back live. Yeah, still waiting for everybody to enter the race, as well as readying up. So we're still in the lobby.
I got information that we're starting now. That's
And
what I got.
for some reason, I'm seeing that I'm experiencing some weird issue that I'm only transmitting with 1,000, with 1,000 kilobytes.
That's like
nothing.
too little.
Yeah, it should
Yeah.
be. It should be like at
Totally.
5,000.
Yeah.
Something is off.
Okay, so if
Yeah.
take your time, obviously we still have a few seconds before the qualifying session starts. Obviously, remember Q1 that will take us 18 minutes, then Q2, Q3, like
Yep.
during normal Formula One races, and then we will start the 50% race distance.
It's back fine now. Good boy outside.
Yeah, exactly. Good boy, who's quite loud, I have to say.
Yeah. So
But I think now he's gone.
probably got
So,
his
yeah.
probably got his treat by now.
Indeed. So we're just waiting final seconds before we start the qualifying session. We get into real
And
track business.
The lobby's setting up, so I'm switching that over real quick.
Yeah.
So we should have everything running in. Okay, hope that everything runs. By the way, if you want, you can turn off your camera.
Okay. So
Okay,
let's just look at the lineup that we are seeing right now. We have, well, one Aston Martin missing, and that is obviously Daniela Haddad. And who is the second driver missing? That will take me probably a little bit more time to find out, but
I think it's the second Alfa Romeo.
it could be. Yeah,
Yep.
it's the second Alfa Romeo, so that should obviously be the second Alfa Romeo was Alonso. Yeah, that was Alonso. So we're without two drivers. One of them is an Aston Martin driver. The second one is an Alfa Romeo driver, and that's what we have to race with. But apart from that, you can see the beautiful branding of ORL, the Champions League racing. Beautiful, beautiful colors. Like everything is purple and light blue, but I've gotta say I like these colors, and it just feels more personalized to sort of say. Obviously, we have all the sponsors visible in the game, and we are back at the circuit. Nardi is the first driver to drive out of his pit lane, but we also have Tsvetkov and Modesto Mena who are on the circuit. But you can see that the first few laps will be done on those intermediate tires, just to get a feel for the track, just to maybe find, just to maybe give it a little bit more grip by laying down a little bit more of rubber that will come off the intermediate tires. We have Puki, we have Yorpa, we have Tarabuk, and we have Buhankov. We have, as I said, Nardi and Svetkov already on the track, so I guess everyone now is coming out of the pits.
Okay, wait.
And Nardi obviously comes through turn 14 now. One of the best overtaking opportunities, as we were saying a little bit earlier. But, obviously those first few minutes of the Q1 session especially are a little bit dull, I'd say. Maybe not dull, that would be a bad word, but they are not the most action-packed minutes.
Nope. Suppose most people are going out, testing if everything is running fine. No issues.
Exactly. Nothing is, happening. We have maybe another driver joining us, so that could be the second Alfa Romeo driver that will join us. That would be awesome if he could, join our race. But my question is if he will be able to take control of the AI car, because we're running in league mode, and I'm not sure if that is really possible, to be fair. But if it is, then obviously it'll be great if he could take control of that AI car, because, yeah, we have 19th driver in the lobby.
Now he is, yep. So we're
That's
only...
even better.
Yep.
So maybe we'll even get the 20th driver. That will be, the best possible amount of drivers to
Worst
get
case,
in the race.
Worst case, we just have to call Bernd Mailänder to fill in the spot.
I feel like you will not have any issues with that. Okay, so let's say we are still following Nardi, who's on intermediate tires. Yeah. Let's see maybe some other guys like Puki. What is Puki doing?
Puki, yeah, right, I can use my keyboard. Yeah, currently also out. Seems like everybody's running intermediates just to do some sort of installation laps.
Most of them.
I hope that maybe also for you the stream is running fine.
Yeah, I have everything fine, so
okay,
no issues from my side. And Nardi sets the first fastest lap time of 1 minute 45.
Yep, and now everybody's beating it over again, but just all on intermediates. So we're not really seeing any competitive lap times yet.
Yeah, so that's obviously, just to maybe just, have those few minutes of glory sitting in the top 3 of the qualifying session. But we all know that these times are set on intermediate tires. Same with Puki, who jumps into 4th place, and I guess same will be with Daniel Girado will be the same. I guess with all of these guys, really.
And we have Marek, who spun on track.
And that is turn number 12, I guess. That's the right-hander just at the exit for that long, snaily 270 degrees. I think it's 270 degrees. I'm just making up numbers. But obviously, yeah, that long right-hander, I think was 180 degrees, to be fair. But whatever. It's just a long right-hander of turn 13 that caused some problems for Mark from Red Bull. But hopefully for him, that was just obviously on those intermediate tires, so he didn't lose too much by just spinning out here.
Yep. And we have another yellow in Sector 3, which I suppose could be... Who is it? Oh, yellow flag is over again, so probably just somebody driving off wide a little bit.
Yeah, or driving, slowly letting more people through. That's also one of the causes for yellow flags. So nothing really of concern for us and for drivers if that is the case. Do we have someone on slick tires? Looks like Nardi is still.
Oh yeah, Sella is currently on slick tires, and he's also on a timed lap, so I suppose he will be the first guy to set a competitive lap time.
Yeah, looks like it. Looks like it. But also we have in the close proximity behind him, we have one of the McLaren drivers. That is Oxygen. He seems also to be on medium tires, if I am correct. Yes, I've seen a yellow stripe on his tire, so Sella goes to the top with a time of 1 minute 32 seconds, .318, and Oxygen jumps into second place with time of 1 minute 32.703, just around 4/10 of a second behind Sella. But we will now thankfully see more and more times set on slick tires. We have Mark on intermediates, but I think he's coming.
No, he's actually still staying out.
Okay, that is interesting. But, that's just one of the drivers, and we have more and more drivers on their out laps now using slick tires. We'll have Savetko, we'll have Danny Berezne, we'll have Pui, we'll have Yorpa, we'll have Boyan. All those guys are on slick tires. The question is obviously on which exact tires they are. That'll be under the detail, and we see that only Danny Berezne actually took on medium tires. All of the rest drivers are on softs.
Actually no, Sella, Oxygen and Berezne are on mediums.
Okay.
So we have 3 people. Currently Sella and Oxygen already set a lap with the mediums. Only now Berezne also trying it. Nardi also now going on with soft, so it's only up to Mark to see what he will take, but obviously he still has to come in to change his tires.
Yeah. But as we've said, more and more drivers will set their lap times on the slick tires. The question is, though, which really tires are they going to use? Are they going to use, softs to get through the Q1 session? Are they going to use mediums to maybe save a set of softs for Q2 and Q3 session? Maybe they are also planning ahead with a race strategy. I personally would really recommend qualifying on mediums, to be fair, because I know how...
and Svetkov spun off!
That's a long, long way up the gravel trap where he ended up. Thankfully, he can drive away.
Luckily.
That was a weird one. That was a weird spin, to be fair.
Yep. Probably, I suppose, flicked in the car just a little bit too fast. Maybe downshifted too aggressive.
Yeah, probably, but because I didn't know, really.
But that would really throw him off a little bit. I mean, personally, it would throw me off guard if the first lap I was trying is directly into the first corner, already a miss.
Yeah, that's one thing, and obviously the question is, how did the tires handle that spin? They obviously are not flat spotted too much, because that will be, that will be the end of the set, the end of the usefulness of that set of tires. Obviously, it's not as realistic in the game as in real life, but still, they can actually lose quite a bit of grip, and that's not what you want to. That's not what you want to do with your tires.
Yep, and we currently have a lot of people bunched up on the main straights. Actually, no, that's not who I wanted. Yeah, and now Boyan sets another new pole lap with the first one dipping into the 31. 31s.
Yeah, 31, 197, but it's set on soft tires. Puig does only 131.3, exactly a second quicker than Sella, but obviously Puig is on soft tires and Sella was on mediums. And we'll see that difference because obviously the difference in grip between soft tires and mediums is huge. But
And
the
versus...
problem is the tire life.
Yep. Now Modesto also coming through with... And we have another yellow flag in Sector 1, but that seems like just somebody going a little bit slower. Let's stay Modesto real quick to see what time he gets. I think the last sector was 8.5 seconds faster. And he takes another pole time. Just shy of the 30s. 31.04.
So we're definitely going
And
to
we have now the first one with the 30, and it's Pookie.
awesome time, and I think we're still going to see better times because it's only like what, 5 minutes? 5 minutes to go in the Q1 session, and you know we still have Q2 and especially Q3 session, but we are going to see better and better times. Boyan just runs wide in turn 14.
And we currently have... No, he's going slow. Let me see. Yeah, and Nardi is now also coming through. His first time on slick tires. Wonder where he comes. Oh, that was close. And it's only good enough for P4. And also for Cordoningolo. Our lovely name. Also sets another personal best for P7. Now P8. Just coming in. Andre also on a really fast time. Last sector was 4/10 quicker than his previous best. And it's good enough for P3, also really strong lap, only 0.02 of a second faster than Boyan. So slowly but surely the guys at the backs, we still have 3 people yet to score a lap time.
We're especially waiting for Danny Beresnay, obviously. He was trying to set a lap time on mediums, but he, for reasons really unknown to me, he just decided to bail out of that attempt and came into the pit lane. What happened to Daniel Girado? I saw that he was coming out of the session. Tarabuki now retires from the session.
I suppose he feels safe enough to pass through it up until Q2.
Girado comes out of the pit lane.
Yep. And we currently, let's see who is it, I think Nardi? No, he's on a slow lap, he's also coming in. Let's see, is anyone still on a fast lap? Nope. Seems like everybody's currently coming in. And we also now have finally Daniel Guirado and Jorpa going out to set their first lap.
We have to wait for Oxygen because he's in P15. He's definitely, you know, on the bubble, if you want to say something like that.
Yeah, but his last sector was a half a second quicker, so he'll definitely improve enough for, let's say, at least 2 positions.
Exactly, we have Sella in 13th as well, so you look at the lap time set by guys on the medium tires and you immediately see that mediums, especially in Q1 session, are not an option for you.
And now Sella moved up until P2. Just gonna stay real quick on Oxygen. Looks like a really strong time from him, and it's good enough for P7. We really have now a really tight pack. From P4 up until, well, let's say P11. Everybody within almost 0.2 of a second.
Yeah, and also P12 is close to P11, also P13 is really close, so just, you know, we have in 0.4 of a second, really, just, from P4 until P13, so that's 10 drivers in those 0.4 of a second. We also have then Buhankov, who's just 0.3 of his teammate in 14th, and then B Giants, who's just retired from the session.
And
he decided that he doesn't really want to improve. So he's now in 15, but he will definitely be out in Q1.
Yep. That definitely won't be enough. I'm not entirely sure the cutoff point is still P16 right now, or does it move up to P15 due to that we don't have 20 drivers in the lobby? Because I'm not entirely sure how F1 works on this system, or in this case. And the next guy, Nardi, now also retired, so the top guys really are feeling confident that they don't have a problem.
Yeah, and I would say Nardi, Tarabukin, Modesto, Pookie, they're all really, really safe. Also Sala,
Selleck.
also Boyan.
Yep, coming
I'd
in.
even say Oxygen would have to feel safe, but then again, more people will get, will improve in the final seconds. Especially, we have to look out for Dani Berezny. We have to look out for Daniel Girado. We have to look out for Yorpa. We have to look at who was that who improved. That's Daniel Girado, who jumped into 10th, and I feel that's not enough of an improvement. Really, we have to look at Daniel Berezny, who is in the second sector. We have to look at Yorpa, who is in, I think he is in the final sector. Yes, he's in the final sector, just behind Buhankov. Yes, so we have Buhankov at 15th. Is improving. He's on the bubble again. He's in the danger zone because Begimes, I don't know how to pronounce that name. I'm really sorry about that. But he's in 16th. He's definitely out.
Buhankov is not out. That definitely surely won't be enough.
He didn't improve, so let's look at Yorpa, let's look at Dani Berezny, because Yorpa is now coming to finish lap.
P7. That should be enough if nobody from the back, like the entire field, manages to pull up, but it's not really that far away.
We know that Buhankov and Behind are already out of the session. We have to remember that. Let's look at Dani Berezny, because he is just close to finishing his lap time. Now we have Manolin, who's...
And he sets a new pole position lap, and we have Berezny now with going in another even quicker, 4/10.
3.5.
That surely is fast.
That is fast as hell. That means
but
we obviously...
Setkov now with 2/10 faster.
So he should improve and maybe overtake all of the guys, maybe even up until Yorpa. Let's see his time.
And P6.
It's P6, so now Ignorance is in the danger zone. The two Williams drivers are actually finishing their lap times. Looks like Daniel Girado is lifting off, so Girado also seems to be out. Till the Williams drivers have improved into 8th and 15th. So let's just look at Mark, who
he's actually coming in.
So that's it. His lap. Daniel also is doing the same.
And that's it for Q1.
So that means Daniel Girado, Buhankov, Behinds, and Mark are not advancing to Q2 session. Two Alfa Romeo drivers are already out in the first session. That is a bit of a surprise, don't you think?
It is, surely. Still wondering what happened to Mark, since his lap time is still set on the intermediates. I wonder if he just aborted it because he wanted to start from the back, or if he had an off track or something. But nonetheless, really impressive time from the top two guys. Definitely from Berezny, like going, well, almost here, 3.5 tenths quicker than P2. And surely shows some quite amazing pace for now.
Okay, so let's again go through the positions. Top 15 starts with Berezny, then Boyan, Manolin, Pookie, Kodor, Niolo, Sela, Modesto, Mena, Ignar, Svetkov, Tarabukin, Nardi, Yorpa, Oxygen, Limitless in 14th. He actually was really close to not advancing through to Q2. And then Pewee was the last one who advanced. Daniel Girado lost 18 thousandths, of a second to Pewee and is out in Q1. Buhankov is also out, the same with Beyonce. And Mark, he didn't even put together a lap on slick tires, so he is out in Q1 as well. And now the question is, what is the strategy going to be chosen by all the drivers. What is your opinion on that? Because I personally would try to qualify on mediums if obviously I had the enough pace to progress through to Q3. But the question is it going to be even possible with such a tight field?
That's definitely gonna be the big question now. Personally, if you have the pace and if you really feel confident about it, if you can make it, I would go for it. But yeah, then again, just seeing how really tightly packed almost the entire field is, like, sure, now the first two guys were a little bit off, a little bit further ahead, but the rest of the field just was insanely tight together. Only a couple of thousands separated them from a few positions.
Waiting for the guy.
Yep. Hope that we don't have any server issues there. But yeah, will be really tough to make it onto the mediums.
Okay. I'm sorry.
Okay. I hope everything is fine. And the loading is complete, so we're on to Q2 now. So again, another 15 minutes of tight action. So when do you think, when should you rather try it on mediums? In the beginning or to the end, when the grip is the highest?
The beginning is a banker lap, definitely. I'll do that, and then just, if the banker lap is good enough, I'll just, put on softs and then just try to protect my lap time. And if I knew that my lap time on mediums was good enough, then I would just, I'd just lift off in the final sector of the lap on soft tires, and that will be it. But it's easier said than done, obviously, and with such a tightly packed group, it's probably not going to be possible. Or maybe if a guy like Berezne tries that, then maybe it will be possible.
And we currently have everybody going out on softs, at least from the guys who are already on their outlap. As it seems only Boyan is on medium selected right now. I wonder if he will stick to it.
Yeah, the question is if he'll stick to it, and the question is if all of these guys are just coming out on those soft tires right now, or is it just, I don't know, sort of not showing your cards until you're out on the track? Maybe that's it. That's the case if something like that as well.
Seems like again we have similar names going out right away from Modesto and Nardi and Jorpa.
Yeah, exactly. These are the same guys who came out of the pit lane very early in the Q1 session. Now they're on soft tires. They're at least in slicks, not on intermediates. That was a different thing.
Obviously, everybody has already done their sort of installation laps, so everybody's free to go. But yeah, do you think that most guys will dip now into the 30s, or will it still be a tight battle up to 31 flat?
It's obviously the question of tires again, but if they stay on those, then I'd say 30s are absolutely possible, and maybe, who knows, maybe we'll see a 29, a high 29 in Q3. That is entirely possible. The question is, can they really do that?
That definitely will be the big question now. I suppose that seeing that Berezne already got to, I think it was a 30.3, if I'm correct?
30.5, I think.
Oh, 30.5. Nonetheless, I suppose with maximum grip, and if you really give it your all, we probably will see a 29 then.
It's possible, I'm fairly sure, but again, is it... It's going to be still quite a challenge to, find half a second between Q1 and Q3. I am
maybe sure, even Oxygen or another teammate will help you out with the little toe on the main straight. And we now have Nardi coming through with the very first lap time, and it's going to be only a 32.5. And Modesto with a 32 flat, so it seemed like he aborted his lap right at the end there.
It seems like they are going to try mediums to me.
Yep. It definitely
It seems
probably...
like it.
Yeah, he wanted to save his spot so that he still has a chance, or rather, a bigger chance of making a faster lap time on mediums.
Yeah, that just means you cannot go, full beans at your first lap on softs if you want to try mediums. And it to me looks like they are going to try mediums. Yorpa, he actually invalidated his lap time, so he
Yep.
stays in 10th.
Would have been
We have
P1 right now, but
Yeah,
again,
definitely.
was invalidated. I think
Exactly.
now we also have
So-
Manolin on a new fastest lap.
And Manolin
on a
also
new,
invalidated.
Oh, he was on an outlap. Now he's on his time lap. My bad.
But again, it looks like he has invalidated his lap because the full track map for him shows red,
yeah.
so that means it's an invalidated lap time for him. So still, 10 minutes to go in Q2 session, and we only have what two lap times, which are not the most, let's say, spectacular lap times. But again, we suspect that the drivers are going to switch for mediums towards the end of the session, maybe during their second stint, just to maybe have enough time to come out at the end of the session and protect your position with a lap on soft tires. Most of the drivers are now, as I see, coming into the pit lane, but also seems like Oxygen carried on to start his flying lap.
Yep, he's also on the flying lap. Let's see if there's maybe one guy currently on setting a lap time. I think Ignars is currently out. Nope, he's also coming in.
So again, more and more drivers.
And I think now Sella... No, yeah, Sella as well as Pookie are both out there on their first timed lap. Who do you think will take the bigger hand now, Pookie or Stella?
Oh, I really don't know at that precise moment because they seem to be really closely matched. But we'll have to wait and see. Tarabukin sets only a very slow lap time of 33.6, but again, looks like he will try mediums later on. Sala, 31.6. That is definitely not a lap time that will help you in advancing to Q2, but looks like maybe he'll again try mediums, but he will have to do a really quick lap times on mediums. Also, one thing about improving that much in Q3, remember about one thing: you need, if you want to benefit from a tow from someone, you really need your teammate to do well in that session.
Yep.
And
Oxygen now with the 31.7, so getting close to Sella, but still off from previous lap times we saw in Q1.
yeah, exactly. So we're still waiting to see if that is...
I think now Pookie's onto his fastest lap. Let's see what he will do.
And Pookie is on softs as well.
Yep. And he goes really fast, 31.181. Currently almost half a second faster than Sella.
And it looks like Pookie will not try mediums to me. Like,
No.
31s and even low 30s are not possible, to me at least, on mediums. If they do 30s on mediums, I will be really surprised. But, I obviously can try. I'm not, I'm not... I'm not, disallowing anyone to use those tires and settle these lap times, but I just feel like it's going to be a little bit too much for those yellow striped tires. But Pookie and Celes sit on top, so we still have 6 lap times only on our leaderboard, and we
have Nardi now on mediums, going for his first timed lap. Let's actually stick with him and see if he can make it.
And those are, again, mediums. Nardi, 32.5 was his, let's say, banker lap on softs. So, mediums, he can improve on them. Question is just by how much. We also have Kadern in yellow jumping into 6th with a time of 32.8. Let's say not the best lap time, but again, it seems like Nardi invalidated his lap time.
Yep, and he also only
Unfortunately,
was
running
4/10 off his personal best, so it seems like the mediums really aren't doing the job now.
maybe it's the case of doing 2 sort of warm-up laps in order to make them work, but again, if he was 4/10 down on his personal best, that just means that mediums are a great race tire,
And
because
actually,
I
now
still believe they are, but
Manolin also trying it on mediums.
okay, so we'll see.
Still hasn't set a lap time yet, but he also set the fastest sector. Here, set a purple sector in sector 1.
Well, yeah, but that's a
So-
common mistake in the game, so
Okay.
I'm not sure if it's a real fastest lap. You can hear that he's actually going really fast by the sound that you could have heard from me.
Yeah, let's see. Second sector, also purple. I wonder how it will turn out.
The problem is I don't really remember, the lap times of the fastest guys after two sectors, and I don't have really any telemetry to compare his lap times to even, let's say, not Pookie, but let's say to Sala, to Oxygen, to all those guys who have set their first bankers on mediums, but we're still following Madeline. We already now have 9 drivers on the timing screen, with Ignars jumping into 8th just a short while ago with a time of 32.8. But again, are those times set on mediums? Are those times set on something else? Madeline, 32 point.
I don't think that will be enough to advance to Q3.
Yeah.
Surely doesn't seem like it.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like it, but the question is just how many drivers will decide on doing lap times on mediums. That's just it.
Svetkov as well as Andre, both of them going out for their another timed lap. Could probably also be their last timed lap. And now Andre also trying it on mediums.
Yeah.
A lot of guys really trying at mediums. Seems like if you take your soft tires, you probably have an easier go of passing through, considering the lap times now in Q1. So it will be interesting to see what most of the other guys are doing. And now Berezny is also on another timed lap. Actually, his first one.
But we are still waiting for the time set by Berezny. Berezny doesn't want to use mediums to me.
And he goes really fast yet again. Even faster than in Q1.
4. I guess this 29, high 29s are more and more possible with every lap time set by him.
Yep. Man, not coming through. Let's actually take a look at Svetkov. Now on his timed lap with mediums. Actually also one of the last 3 remaining guys who haven't set a lap time yet. I wonder, will it be enough for 31? And no, that's not. Only enough for P10 with a 32.4. Surely that won't be enough to surpass up until Q2. Yep, and he's already bumped out by Andre, who's also on medium tires.
Yeah.
So we currently have more than half of the field on medium, so that's interesting to see. Let's see. We have Sella coming through with another 30.8. Also, I think up next, Oxygen, I think, was on another fast lap. Yeah, he's going to improve by more than half a second. Also dipping into the 30s, but only for P3. So it seems like Berezny has the upper hand over Oxygen for now. Surely that can change in Q3, but as for now, it's a really strong performance by Berezny, and call me early, but I'm gonna put my money on Berezny for now, to be honest.
Yeah, I'd say so. Yeah, looks like it, definitely. 130.4. It's already
And
4
Nardi
tenths
is
quicker.
out, so he already
Nardi,
retired.
yeah, Nardi is out, and he's not going to improve. But again, as you said earlier, most of the drivers who are in the bottom part of the leaderboard are on mediums, so they might not really improve that much. So Nardi might even be quite safe, let's say. But we
And
have to see if
actually,
everything.
now we see two teammates giving each other a tow, Ignars and Pui.
Yeah.
Both on medium lap time, so let's see how that will work out. So I'm sure they're probably gonna switch around. So that Ignars gets a tow on the very next lap. But let's see on Pui for now what he can do. And it's only just enough for P5, only just shy of the 31. So we have by now a really big gap between the guys at the front. And now everybody running on mediums, if I see that correctly. Yep. So there's almost a second of a gap.
Still waiting though.
Let's see who else is there. We have Boyan now, also on another faster lap time. He improved in Sector 2 by now. Right behind him is Svetkov, who I believe is also on a faster lap time.
But Svetkov seems to be on mediums, if I am correct as well. So we have to see if everything how everything really plays out. We have to also have an eye on Limitless, who is in 15th. He's actually going through second sector already. He's, I think, the last one on the track. So
that would be interesting. So it's enough for Boyan. Nope, he's not gonna get kicked out of Q2. Out of Q2, let's see who else is on track. No, that's...
Svetkov is definitely out. He actually lifted off out of turn 16. He is out. He's in 11th.
So
let's wait
see
for
if Cordaniolo can get it. Otherwise, we only have really Limitless who can still change it. And Cordaniolo gets through. Now let's switch quickly to Limitless.
Yolpa is already out, but Limitless is also on mediums. So is Limitless going to get quicker than 132.1, or is he going to actually lose out on progressing into Q3? We have Pewee also in 7th, but he's coming into the pit lane. He's also
it looks
safe,
like
so
a fast time, and it's
for
only just enough. That's 5 thousandths of a second quicker.
Look, we've had Daniel Guirado who lost out on progressing into Q2 by 18 thousandths of a second, but now Nardi loses out by 5 thousandths of a second. That is just how ridiculously close this, especially midfield, is. Because, okay, Berezne is 4 tenths or maybe 3 tenths up on everyone else, but apart from him, everyone else is so freaking close to each other. Berezne, Puki, Psela, that's the top 3. Then Oxygen, Modesto, Mena, Boyan, Pewee, Manolin, Codornignolo, and Limitless are progressing into Q3, and then Nardi, Yorpa, Svetkov, Tara, Bukin, and the last one of those, obviously Ignars, are out in Q2.
So we have the top 5 currently running on softs then for the race start. Rest is on mediums. I suppose that the people who've got kicked out in Q1 will surely also run on mediums, if not hards. So yeah, that will be interesting to see how fast. I mean, seeing that now, the gap difference between in a lap between the two tires looks like almost a second. So it will be interesting to see how far away can they pull in order to make the strategy work to start on softs.
Okay, we'll see then. Obviously waiting for 2 drivers now to... we're obviously waiting for 2 drivers now to, to load up into the session, but I think that's not the biggest issue. Still not showing any issues.
Currently still waiting for Berezny.
But okay, I mean, the biggest question is just, minutes from being answered, really. Is there anyone who can stop Danny Beresnay? Do you think? Is there anyone, or again, are you staying with what you said earlier that there is no one who can really beat Danny Beresnay here?
I don't believe everybody has shown their true potential yet, but surely Beresnay up until now has shown an incredible pace, both in Q1 as well as in Q2. So I believe it won't be easy for the others to catch up, but yeah, then again, not everybody has shown their last card up their sleeve, so we'll wait and see.
We'll have to wait and see. Obviously, the Alpha Tauri guys were earlier those quickest ones in the races and in all of the sessions before, but now it looks like it. It looks like, there is one driver who can really be even better than them. Q3 has started. We're still waiting. We're still waiting, obviously, for the first drivers to really to come out on the circuit. Obviously, soft tires are going to be in use, so presumably there are no games to be really played out on the circuit.
Yep.
But
I wonder also how many sets everybody has left up there.
We don't have that
in the
idea.
garage.
Unfortunately, we don't have that news.
Yeah, unfortunately, but definitely will be interesting because right now, everybody except for the top five, should have in theory, I believe, another set of softs since they ran their second stint on medium tires and not on soft tires. Ooh, sorry. So I wonder, yeah, if anybody will take an early lead and just try to set an extra lap. But also seems like for now nobody really wants to go out.
Yeah, they're just waiting and waiting and waiting.
Maybe somebody invited someone over for a cup of tea.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's actually a good idea. If I could check in the race director. I wonder. Doesn't look like I can look it up anywhere here. Nope. I can only see the previous lap times, but not what has been done in the previous sessions. So that's unfortunate.
We're just waiting for someone to come out. It's looks like Pookie is out. Also, one of the Ferraris, that's Modesto Mena. So
Yep.
we finally have some track action, but those are, sorry, those are just out laps.
Yeah.
Thankfully,
Maybe next game mistake.
Yeah, more and more drivers are coming out with time. So we just have to wait for them to come out and show us what they can do.
Will you think Limitless will stay out up until the very end again, or do you think that he will do two timed laps?
I mean, to be fair, I don't really know. I'd like to see them doing 2 time laps, but some drivers use too much of their sets, and it looks like it is the case with Limitless and Malolin, so they are just staying in the pit lane for now.
Also always interesting to see when drivers are coming out of the final corner, just to see the tire temperature difference between the left-hand side and right-hand side.
Yeah.
I wonder if people are actually trying to compensate that a little bit with tire pressure in the setup. Because I believe ever since, I think F1 2020, you can do individual tire pressures for each tire.
Yeah, I think you can. I'm not sure, to be fair, because as I probably said earlier, I don't have the game myself.
Well, you surely can in this game. I mean, after all, you have some really strong right-hand corners like turn 1.
Yeah, you should definitely have that possibility because it's such a front limited circuit, and especially the front left gets
Yep.
a lot of beating here. But let's see what Pookie can do on his first lap. Then we have Modesto. Then we have Pewee, and then we'll have Senna behind him, and then Oxygen, then Codornignolo, then Beresnay, then Manolin, then I guess Limitless and Boyen. So that's how it will look like.
Welcome Soups also. Yeah, so now onto the final straight. Saying, I
Yeah.
wonder, will it be enough for 1 minute 30? Will the banker lap still be a 31 for now?
Yeah.
And it seems like everybody is now out of the pits. Even Limitless and Mandolin. And now let's focus on Pookie for a second. And he's going through with a 30.6, so that's a really strong lap for him. Up next we have... Oh, wait, that's the wrong one. No, and Modesto has made a 30.8, so a little bit closer behind. Now we have Pui going up over the line. And he's coming through with the 30.7. Let me quickly get the telemetry lap data. Up next, I think it was Berezny. No, it's not Berezny, it's actually Oxygen, and Oxygen goes P5.
Yeah.
And let's take a quick look at Berezny.
Where is Beresnay? 130.6 is the time he has to beat.
In the meantime, Corniniolo goes right behind Modesto with only 5 thousandths behind.
Yeah, 30.8. Only Oxygen actually is the driver who didn't manage to break the 130s. 130.189.
That is really strong. I wonder if anybody even will get close at this point,
Yeah.
or
I would just say, game, set, and match Beresnay, really, because that's...
And now
that's
Limitless is coming through.
Big lap. That's a big lap, obviously waiting for Limitless, as you've said, but he will just go into 8th. 130.9.
And
We're waiting for Manolin. Those lap times are nowhere near what Beresnay can do. I mean, if I was Beresnay, I would just pull into the pits, get some cup of coffee, maybe, of tea, whatever
and
he
Manolin
likes.
only managing P4 with 30.6 right in front of Boyan.
But it's close because he is just 0.06 of a second behind Pookie. He's just ahead of Boyan, so we obviously have a very close, let's say, midfield of that top 10, but Beresnay is just
definitely
miles ahead of anyone.
You could say that, I believe that from P2 all the way up until, well, you could say up the way until Limitless that we have everybody in for P2.
Yeah.
I believe that maybe Oxygen probably had a slight mistake somewhere, because I believe that he also definitely should have the pace to achieve a 30. But yeah, again, Beresny, I think at this point maybe he could even go for the boss move and just retire from the session.
Yeah.
As he said, get himself a coffee, a cup of tea, whatever, and just enjoy the show. But yeah, for now was from everyone. I wonder who will be the first guy to leave the pits again.
One of the first guys to leave the pits again. Well, not now, obviously, because it's still 3.5 minutes to go in that session. We're still waiting for Manolin to come into the pit lane now. We'll have a brief moment of pause with all of the on-track action, but everything will change in just a few seconds. So we'll have a short, pause between any drivers to drive out on the circuit. But also, as I said, it's going to be brief, so in probably 30 seconds, someone will be out again on the track, and I see movement in Ferrari garage. The same with the McLaren garage. So already there are some
That
drivers out on the circuit.
is
But that's still
that is actually Bereznik going up as the second guy out.
very early. Maybe he's just
So
going to give a tow for oxygen.
could be.
Because obviously, Berezny, let's be honest, he has a very, very
But here's the
secure.
thing, Oxygen is also coming out now, so they're not really close to each other.
Yeah,
Yeah, I wonder if they will use any tactics.
I don't know. I don't know. I mean, obviously, but
I mean,
we'll see.
surely
Obviously, Oxygen.
Berezny could give Oxygen a tow without having the fear of losing positions, at the moment, at least.
But I have to say, all of the I don't know what to say really, but can they use tactics now? Not really, because they're very close
Well,
to each
it
other.
seems like Berezny is currently really slowing down on letting Oxygen catch up.
Yeah.
So probably there will be some tactics, as well as now
Well,
we
they have one.
hearing Modesto burning off some extra excessive fuel.
But then again, McLarens have one Alpha Tauri between them, so we'll see how it plays out. They have a minute.
Yep.
So Modesto is the first one to start his final flying lap in the Q3 session. What will be his time? We'll see, because obviously then again, Berezny will be the second guy through the start-finish line. Then again, the next one is Sella, then Oxygen. Behind them, we will have one of the Mercedes drivers. I'm not sure
Not
who.
really enough to improve for Modesto as of right now. Almost on par. Let's take a look at Berezny, seeing maybe is he faster or slower?
We'll have to wait.
And he's actually going even faster, almost 400s.
And that's just Sector 1.
Yeah, he's really pushing for it. I can feel it at 29, to be honest.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's just wait and see, because it
And
might
now
happen.
Modesto luckily goes up 0.123 seconds faster, so that should be enough currently for him to jump, I think, P4, if I'm correct.
Yeah, I think you're correct. But let's wait, because Modesto
Actually,
is
it's
now on
for
the back
P5.
straight.
Yep. I'm just gonna wait here now, Modesto, see how he does, and switch through. So the time is up. Everybody just cross the finish line right now and see where he ends. And we have Modesto as the first guy coming through in P3, so he improved big time there. Definitely did an improvement. Now let's see what Berezny can he do. Can he break the 30? And he's just shy. 30.1 in the meantime. Let's see what Oxygen can do. And Oxygen improves up until P6. Up next we have now Boyan. Also was quicker in the previous sector. He's now back to P3. Now we have Pookie going faster, but only enough for P4. And meanwhile, Manolin, previous sector 2/10 quicker, enough for P6 only.
Yeah.
And now we have Coronignolo and Limitless, last one to cross. I think I only saw that he improved by 2/10, which was good enough for P10. I'm not sure.
He improved, but he's still in 10th. He definitely is still in 10th.
You can see that on the steering wheel, so that wasn't really his day, I suppose.
But look, Berezny took pole by almost 0.3 of a second. It was just 1/10 of a second shy of our, let's say, imaginary barrier of 1 minute 30 seconds. Then Sella, Codornignolo jumped into third. That was a really good showing from the Ferrari driver. Boyan in fourth, Pookie in fifth, Pee-wee in sixth, Manolin in second, Modesto Mena in eighth, Oxygen in ninth, and Limitless only in 10th. But you can see how how close everyone is, really. 6 tenths between the first one and the final one, between the first driver and the final driver in Q3. And then also look at the gaps between Sella and I think P8. 6, 7 drivers were in just 2 tenths of a second, maybe even within less than 2 tenths of a second. But thankfully, we have managed to progress to the race. 50% of the race distance, so just around 28 laps of this magnificent Shanghai International Circuit. The question is what the strategy will be, because most of the top 10 will start in softs, definitely. But
Actually,
what? Yeah.
only half of the grid, like only top 4,
Oh,
top 5.
Yeah.
The
Sorry.
rest actually managed to make it through in, with mediums, since nobody else of the other guys chose the softs, so everybody was on an even playing field. Yeah.
But just to continue on, so around half of the top 10 will start on softs. But then again, who else will start on those? Probably just 1 or 2 drivers outside of the top 10, really. Let's see the details of the tires. We have obviously 19 drivers on the grid because we didn't have the second Aston Martin driver join us during the qualifying session, and you can see that outside of the top 10, most of the drivers will start on mediums, apart from Ignar's, Daniel Girado, and Behinds, who will start on hard tires. Yes, on hard tires. On softs, will only start Berezne, Sala, Puki, Modesto Man, and Oxygen. So, as you said, half of that top 10, just 5 drivers will start on those.
So it was interesting to see that the game suggested that it's going to be a 2-stop race. I wonder how that will plan out, since Ignar's, Daniel Guirado, as well as Bayones are all starting on hard tires. So who knows, maybe if they really stretch out them and then switch over to mediums, do you think they can make it on a 1-stop even, maybe?
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. That's probably what they are looking for. Maybe even if they are able to stretch out those tires for a little bit longer, they will be able to even maybe finish the race on softs. I think that is going to be possible, to be fair. But you never know. You never know how the situation, the track will play out. You never know how the situation with penalties, with safety cars especially, will play out. So we have to wait and see. Around 45 minutes of racing are ahead of us. And let's just hope, obviously, the game problems don't destroy that fun.
Yeah, definitely. I believe that track limits will also be an interesting factor. Since, out of here, the last corner, it's really easy to just run a little bit wide. And just, get that extra off track. I mean, we all know 2 are allowed, the third one is a time penalty. And also at the end of the second sector, it's also pretty easy there to just run a little bit wide. And just collect your track limit.
Exactly, that's what you can do. It's easy, really, as you said, to catch a few penalties here. But I have a feeling that in this game, actually, it's easier to avoid those penalties. I feel like it was way easier to get those
the starting grid is ready.
Previous games, but as you said, the grid is ready, so the start lights are on.
And we already have a drive-through for his jump start. Actually, a lot of people.
Oh, man.
We have 2 people, Pookie as well as Corneliolo, both with the jump start. And now Berezny trying to fend off from Sella. And I think he just can make it stick if he can hold himself on the outside. There, and it seems like, he should be able to hold himself. Maybe there's a little bit of contact.
We have a little bit of a yellow flag. That's Andrei Tarabuk in his round.
And also, Andre, seems like something happened back there.
But let's stay with Danny Berezny, who's still defending from Sela. There is one of the Alpine going. That's Nardi, who just went straight on in turn 6. But still, let's look at Berezny, who's fighting off Sela. He's still ahead of him. What
That's-
about Color and Yellow and Pookie, who are the drivers who got the drive-through penalties for jumping the start? They started on mediums, if I'm
the mediums
correct.
as well as softs.
Especially Color and Yellow started on mediums because Pookie starts on softs. But you can see that Color and Yellow is slowing Pookie down, and that might have huge consequences
Ooh.
for the race.
And there's Sella running. No, actually, that was Pookie running wide there at the end of the turn. Now we think have here Boyan and Modesto switching up places there. Maybe a fight back from Boyan? Not really.
Not really, not really. Not really, at least at this precise moment. Limitless is fighting with Oxygen for P9 Oxygen jumps
And
ahead of
it's-
Limitless. And Kadar Ninyala and Pukio already have come into the pit lane.
So their race surely is over unless a safety car comes to help them. Because the pit lane here is really long, it's really taking a lot of time. So I'll have to wait and see how that plays maybe out. Definitely need to do a little pray there now. Seems like everything in the train is relatively close together, in between half a second roundabout. Unless Jorpa, he's looking like he's a little bit closer to Limitless. He's really on his gearbox there. Yeah, here in the field, all of the medium tire runners. In front of Limitless is Oxygen though, with the soft tires in a field full of medium runners. So Oxygen really needs to make up some positions there to take full usage of those soft tires, because they surely won't last that long.
Yeah, you're right, but let's see how it all plays out. Obviously, we've had Color and Yellow and Pookie in the pit lane to serve their penalties. They are actually just behind Tara Booking, who lost so much time, obviously, due to that collision in turn 1.
Meanwhile, taking a look at the lead again. Seems
Yeah,
like
they are.
Berezny, Sella and Modesto are really getting away. Boyan already 1.6 seconds away. I believe
Yeah.
he was... Yep, he's the first guy now on medium, so it seems like... It's like they can hold their delta of roughly a second almost per lap.
Berezny already sets the fastest lap of the race. You can see how good he is.
And actually, Mark, I believe, has made a lot of positions. He's all the way up
Yeah, he's
until
already
P12.
Yeah, he's doing well on those mediums. He started on mediums, He's just behind Girado, who's on hards. But yeah, we have to have a close look on this guy because he started from the back of the field. He's already
Seems like he's
12.
really pushing it, probably going to dive on the inside here. And he's through. So that's already P11 for him. 8 positions down.
Yeah, he used the fact
Now
that
he-
he has mediums. So that was
Yeah,
a bit
now
of...
he really needs to close the gap again so that he doesn't lose the DRS train. Meanwhile, at the front, I see that Berezny has almost pulled a second lead to Sella, and he has done it. So he's pulled himself out of the DRS range. Now 1.2 seconds for Glimpse there. He really is on fire this night.
Yeah, he definitely is on fire already. As you said, a second up on Sella. That is a huge gap. He doesn't have to now worry about Sella being in his DRS zone because he's not. He's just behind that, and well, that means
Oh, at the
Berezny
back,
can run his own race. Yeah, that's at the back.
Buchenkov overtaking Bayanes. But other than that, most guys are just following a train one after the other.
Yeah.
So we'll have to wait and see until the gap, the train spreads a little bit more. So we have some easier overtaking. But yeah, up until now, crazy pace again. The gap to Boyan is now 2.8 from Modesto. Actually, let me see. Yeah, from the leader, that's already 4.5 seconds for the moment. Do you have an information on how long a pit stop actually costs you around here? Because I believe that it's a lot more than 20 seconds.
I kind of find that information pretty quickly, so just let me find it, because I know I have actually run such simulation a few months ago, and I think it didn't really change
Meanwhile,
between the games.
You know, on the back, seeing that Nardi is really trying to almost bump Ignars there, really on his back.
So yeah, according to my, let's say, pit stop simulation, it costs you around 22 seconds, 22, 23 seconds. That's
Really
how
only.
much you're losing by going through the pit lane. It's quite a lot, actually. It's not the longest of the pit lanes. It's not the slowest one of those, actually, but still, you're running quite far away because you have to, you have to take a longer route through turn 6.
Is that going to be 3 wide, is it? No. Nardi being the smart guy, holding himself out, maybe trying to do the double overtake here now? No, he's being held up by the others. Can't fight his way through. But yeah, meanwhile, seeing Sella has caught up a little bit. So he's now up until only half a second off. Seems like he probably got DRS on the last 2 straights. Although Modesto, yeah, has already lost the train here. 1.5 seconds away. So we'll have to just hope that those 2 guys are just fighting a little bit more so that he can somehow sneak his way back. And we have a yellow flag. Nardi! Something happened to him. And he spun, indeed.
It's the second time in this race because remember he obviously went straight on in turn 6 during lap 1, and now he's just down in the final position. So unfortunately for Nardi, this race has gone from bad to worse.
Yep. Now taking a look, it seems like there's still a train, but roughly then from P4 all the way up until P11. So it will be still tough to overtake people there.
Yeah.
Right now, taking a look, the closest guy up there is Jorpa, with less than 2/10 away from the guy in front. He probably will try to make a move on Limitless now.
Yeah. We have to wait and see, but
actually, he's losing right now, so it seems like Limitless has used his overtake.
Limitless got a huge toe behind Oxygen, so that's also why he was actually pulling away from Yorpa.
And meanwhile, something happened to Modesto. He's coming in already for his first pit stop. So after 6 laps, or actually 5 laps, that's done. So will he go on mediums or will he go on hards? Looks like hard tires.
Let's say hards. Let's say hards.
We'll have to wait and see if he'll does it on a 1-stop or if he will go for the 2-stop.
I'd say it's a 1-stopper, to be fair.
Yeah.
It's 23 laps to go. It's quite a long way, but I think it's manageable. So we'll see if Modesto really does what I think he will do. Modesto is 3 seconds behind his teammate, so he will be in that group of, let's say, those who didn't have too much lag during this race, but maybe his teammate will help him to gain a little bit more. But that quick pit stop just, throws in a question: how long Danny and Sella will stay out on those sods? Because we know it's lap number 6. Probably they'll be able to stay out for like 2 more laps, but not more.
Seeing as right now, Boyan I think has caught up half a second almost. So they surely will need to come in this lap, or at the very least, or at the very last next lap. Now Limitless has taken over Oxygen. I missed that, unfortunately. Maybe there's a switchback. Oh, Limitless having a little bit of oversteer. And Oxygen can fight back. Meanwhile, seeing Berezny and Sella both are continuing on up until lap 7. Now taking a look, maybe Limitless will try it on the outside with DRS, and he's through.
It looks like to me
as well as Jorpa also, so it seems like Oxygen's tires are really letting off. Maybe even Svetkov is trying to push through there. But on the left-hand turn he has the worst line, so Oxygen can fight back.
I have to say that it looks like maybe Danny is having a little bit more of the tire issues than Sella at the moment, because Sella obviously caught up to him. He's gaining a little bit on the corners, but especially he will gain a lot due to having DRS on that monster long back straight. So we'll have to wait and see. Obviously, it's all one big waiting game.
Meanwhile, taking a look, Mark is really close. He's now the last guy in the train. Surely. Probably also going to make a move on Oxygen, seeing that Oxygen is, on soft tires. And those should be pretty worn by now.
Awesome. That looks awesome again for Mark because he's on mediums. He has a few guys who are actually starting on softs just ahead of him, so
And he's going for it right now.
yeah.
On the inside, so he has a better line, and that should be job done.
That's the moment where the mediums are better than
And
soft.
interestingly, Berezny and Selle are still continuing on their soft tires.
Maybe, just maybe, they want to stretch out those softs a little bit longer and maybe do a few laps on mediums. Because I feel like that might be the case. Oxygen decided that that's it. He came into the pit lane, I think. Or
Yep,
no.
Oxygen
No,
is...
he came into the pit lane.
Yep, Oxygen is in the pit. I actually have rather the idea that Berezny and Selle are both trying to squeeze out these soft tires to a stint of the mediums, so that they are on par with the other guys, switching from mediums probably then to hards.
Yeah. Looks like it.
Just stretching the mediums for another 20 laps. We'll have to wait and see how the other guys can cope with it, seeing that Boyan is now only 2.4 seconds behind Selle, so he's almost caught another second in the last 2-3 laps, I believe. So wait and see. Now, taking a look onto the straights, out of the guys who's probably going to try and make a move is maybe Jorpa. The others have a pretty big gap, unless someone is really using his battery for the straight.
Look how much time have Berezny and Selle lost on that line.
Yep.
That was like a second to Boyan. A second lost by the top two in the race. Obviously, the mediums are now coming to their own, coming to their...
Question.
to
And
the
will they
real
come in?
line.
And he's still continuing. Both Berezny and Selle are continuing. Meanwhile, Andre has taken over Vigines and is now back into P12. But crazy to think, Berezny and Selle still continuing both on softs.
It definitely is crazy. Obviously, they know what they're doing, probably better than us, but still, I am 100% sure now they want to run mediums, not hards during the...
They'll definitely
end of
make it
the
a
race.
try.
Yeah, they just want to... They just want to stay out for like a lap, maybe 2 laps longer, to make sure that those mediums don't have a huge drop-off in the pace
Yep.
in the final 2 laps, and they're, you know, on the safe side in terms of punctures and all of that stuff.
Yep. I mean, after all, Boyan now is really close. I think if you can... Yep. He made himself... he did his homework. Is now back into within a second. So he should have DRS now on the straight and really catch up to Selle and Berezny there. Meanwhile,
Yeah.
the guys behind, everyone is relatively within half a second to the guy in front. So that's just a big train, not really seeing any movement there. Yeah, exactly, Licky. They're both just losing time there. I believe that their idea is just, yeah, stretching out these soft tires, using the buffer they've built up, and basically letting that run out slowly but surely, so that the total time... Meanwhile, Berezny and Selle both still continuing, but surely now on this next lap, maybe Boyan will overtake him. No, still too far away. But yeah, coming back to what I want to say is, I believe that, and now Andre with a 3-second time penalty, so there we have the first candidate for that. No, but so basically that their entire total stint time is runs out onto the same total time. Just with the fact that their first half is a lot faster, and now Boyan is making a move on Selle and overtaking. There's a little bit of collision, but all in all, it's looking good, and Selle really is losing here. Almost
Selle
getting
is
caught
losing.
by Pui, and I believe Pui will
Yeah.
make it stick around the outside, and yeah, he lost it now. So they surely need to come in now this lap. Otherwise, they will lose out big time.
Selle obviously lost a lot of time, but I got to say, Berezny must feel really confident that he can make up the ground he lost by losing the whole advantage he and Selle built up during the first 2-3 laps when they had those 3 sometimes even 4.5, 3.5, almost 4 seconds of advantage. Now Boyan will overtake Berezne into turn 14. Can Berezne find an answer to that? No way, because he
And
doesn't have that much grip under
also
braking.
Menolin has taken over Sella as well, and I think
Sella is now fifth, and Sella is
yeah,
still losing a lot
and
of time.
Berezny is coming in as well as Sella. Both guys are now coming into the pit lane. Will be interesting to see what they will pick here. Just gonna switch over to the tires real quick.
I'd say mediums. I'd say mediums are
And
the way
mediums
to go.
are on for Berezny, and Sella has chosen the mediums as well, so they probably will try to run them to the end, because the double stint strategy is out of the question for now.
Yeah, I'd say so. Because obviously, well, 2 stints, it was never a good option, really. So we have to remember about that, but, you know... Was that a lap too long for them to make sure that this strategy works?
I believe for Berezny, it was the very last moment he could have done. Like a lap later would definitely have hurt him. I mean, he still sort of almost was first place when he entered the pits. So, considering the delta total lap time of both stints, what they have done, they're on equal pace. Right now, he has the much fresher tires and he can make up ground again. For Selle, I believe he really lost out. I mean, taking a look right now, he's 1.4 seconds, and now somebody is really slow, but that already has cleared up.
That's behind.
Yeah, but Selle really has lost out. I mean, look, he lost the toe from Berezny. He's over a second out. He really needs to push now in order to, get back into the DRS zone. So he's definitely the loser out of this. And now seeing that Mandolin also is coming in. So the first guy from the medium started to switch tires. Coming in after 12 laps.
Okay.
So he will have to race these hard tires for a really long time now.
Yeah. That's very quick stuff.
Yep.
Like very early, let's say that's better.
Meanwhile, taking a look, Mark all the way up until P5. He's now just shy of 2 positions behind the Limitless. Keeping in mind, he started all the way from the back. And they're all in one big train all the way up until the leader. So everybody's within DRS. There's a little bigger gap between Limitless and Pui, but still, everybody has still a chance of, getting up to the top spot.
You're right, obviously. Still, all those guys are within a shot, obviously, but I still have a feeling that Berezne still was like a lap too long on those soft tires. But maybe I'll be obviously proved wrong. Like,
Yep, definitely have to take a look. I believe the next couple of laps are going to show, because Selle and Berezny, they need to fight now through the field. Taking a look, Berezny is only 3/10 behind Nardi, and I think Nardi has also DRS probably, but looking at the toe, he probably is going to make it stick. Now Bayoness with the second guy being with the 3-second time penalty. Currently in P15, I believe that won't hurt him all too much. I think now, maybe one of the guys at front, Pui is coming in, so he's the second guy. As well as Boyan. He already switched to hard tires. So, will be interesting to see how these guys can hold up with fresh hard tires against the fresh tires of Berezny and Selle on mediums, who can make up more ground.
Yeah. So we have to wait to see where everyone, settles in after all this pit stop. It still looks like Berezny is obviously the leader in that group. He has Modesto Men ahead of him. Modesto pitted really early on those medium tires, if you remember. But Modesto took on hard tires, and he will be obviously way slower than Berezny.
Yep. Also, although I have to say right now, it's really important for Berezny to take over Modesto, so he really needs to do a big push now. Because seeing the gap from Modesto to Andre, it's 6 seconds, so there's a lot of clean air that Berezny can use in order to make it work. Now he's trying all the way. Let's see, is he going to use overtake? Because he really needs to make this move. Hasn't used
definitely.
any overtake yet. As now DRS, I believe the straightaway is long enough and should be an easy pass, yes. And that was it. Little big lockup actually, but thankfully it's F1 and not R Factor. Meanwhile, taking a look at the back, Nardi is close to the guy in front, as well as... yeah, Mark. All the way at the front, they're both fighting up, closing the gap furthermore. Wonder how long these guys will stay out.
Well, they can stay out for a bit, still, but...
And now
to be
Pookie, yep. After that jump start at the start, now another 3 seconds onto his name, his race surely is over.
Yeah, that's, you know, that's all of the evening just really lost because of that.
Yep. But now taking a look actually at the minimap, you can see that Brezny has really... he already caught up a second to Andre. He's now within 5 seconds. So he's really making up ground big time there. Taking actually a quick look to the leader, Brezny's only 15 seconds behind Limitless, so he surely will come out in P1. And now we have Baynes being slow. So he had a mistake there done.
It's not something new.
Yeah.
Obviously, you know, I don't want to be, you know, some
Rude.
sort of
And now
some sort of, I don't know, critique, but still.
I believe Mark in the meantime has tried to overtake Jorpa.
Yeah.
Let's take a look. Is he going to try make a move? No, he's not. And now Daniel Guardo is also down with a 3-second time penalty.
But you have to see that all those guys at the top, they shouldn't really fight each other. They
Nope.
should, I guess, work together as a team right now and make sure that they don't lose too much time, because obviously they're way slower than Berezny and all of the guys behind him who have new tires, and they have to make sure that, you know, that they don't they don't lose too much time in track positions when they switch tires for new, I don't know, hards, maybe even softs, who knows.
Yeah, maybe for the hard runners, a switch to softs to the end is doable, especially seeing how long, Berezny and Sella have managed to stay out of them. I mean, surely
That's for sure.
not staying out. How long did they stay out? I believe 10 laps was it? Actually, let me take a look in the. Yeah, they stayed out for 11 laps on the soft tires, adding up the extra lap they do in quali on them, so roughly 12 laps to 13 laps, for formation lap, in lap, whatever. Surely some people can do like 8 laps on the soft tires and not having to worry too much about wear. Meanwhile, Sella has made a move on Modesto, so he's now back behind Berezny and still out of the DRS zone. Limitless and Jorpa, Mark still continuing on, 16 laps in. So I believe they will probably pit on lap 19, would be my guess. Will be interesting though, because Limitless and Mark are both driving for the same team, so they can't lap on the same lap. Can't pit on the same lap.
Especially knowing that they are really close to each other, because had they been, I don't know, 5 seconds between each other, 6 seconds, that would be a big loss. But now, obviously, that's going to be a big time loss for them.
Yeah.
So,
also seeing now Berezny is back within almost 12 seconds now. And meanwhile, Boyan has made a move on Nardi now. Yeah, so again, what I want to say, the guys at the top, although they're not actively fighting all too strong, they're still losing time to Berezny.
exactly, that's how it looks like, but we will have to see. Berezny is a second ahead of Sella. He's 2 seconds behind Tarabukin, who I think he has not been in the pit lane as well, so we will have to wait. When does he come into the pits? And as you said, you're waiting for the guys who are at the front to pit, maybe even at the end of lap 19. If they do that, they will obviously be in a good position to take on soft tires and fight back through the pack. I think it's possible. I think it's what they can do, but they just need to make sure that these tires survive until lap 19. It's lap 17 out of 28, so they just need to make sure these tires are okay for the next 3 laps. Ignars, but meanwhile, bailed out of it. He came into pits. He's now in 8th. The question is, what tires does he take on?
There. Ignars is out on mediums. I believe he started. Yeah, he was one of the guys who started on hard tires. I believe he probably could have stayed out another 2 laps or so, and then yeah, switch off over to softs.
I think definitely. I think that is.
But then again, he probably also just wanted to go with the safer route of just taking medium tires, being able to push those tires a lot more, since they're less heat sensitive, as well as yeah, the drop-off point to the end is less fatal. So yeah, probably the better option for him. Yeah, meanwhile, taking a look, Berezny's seeing is only 4/10 now behind Andre, and he is going to overtake him now, probably. Now in DRS zone, using a little bit of overtake, and that is job done, P4. So he's now again in fresh air, 9 seconds only behind Mark, so that's... Yeah, now even only 8.6 seconds, so yeah, he's now within 9 seconds of Limitless, so he really made up big ground there in the last couple of laps. I wonder how close he will get before the other guys are going to pit. Because seeing now we're already now on lap 18, so my prediction again, next lap, I suppose they're going to come in. And the gap has fallen down by then probably, I believe, to 7 seconds. It's not really that big, and then Limitless, Jorpa and Mark need to make up ground again.
Yeah, I mean, looks like, you know, these guys are going to comfortably, you know, make it to lap 19 on those mediums even. But how much time will they lose? Obviously, it looks like they are losing huge chunks of time through the second sector. That's why maybe even lap 18 would be better for them to come in, you know, but then again, they're facing a prospect of losing too much time at the final lap of their soft tire stint.
Yeah, surely Mark probably could pull off the undercut against Jorpa. Or even Jorpa could do the undercut against Limitless. And now, actually I missed that, and Jorpa is taking over the lead from Limitless.
Mark, looks like also Mark is just behind Limitless.
He definitely had a peek in there, but decided to not go for it. I wonder, is anybody going to come in? No, they're all going to continue, so first pit stop is going to be the very earliest, lap 19. Meanwhile, Manilin has taken over Nardi, and Sella has finally taken over Andre after Andre is going into the pits. I believe that's still his first set of tires. Yep, that's still his first set of tires. So as of right now, we only have Nardi, Mark, Limitless, and Jorpa left on the very first stats. Andre going now for the soft tires, so he's really on to push now. It'll be interesting where he gets out. He will be out in fresh air, so he really needs to make use of them now.
He'll be just behind Pookie, I think. He will be just behind Pookie in 16th. Yep. Yes, he'll be in 16th. So guys like Jorpa, Limitless, Mark will be a few seconds ahead of them, maybe ahead of Pookie. Maybe they will be just at the end of that train, which is Oxygen, because he's just behind Ignars and Daniel Girada, so maybe, you know, that doesn't look too bad for the guys who are leading the race right now, but they have lost, obviously, 1.5 seconds already, and like half a second, half a track, I'm sorry.
Yep. And actually now taking a look, meanwhile, Berezny's going to be almost within 5 seconds now, so yep, I don't believe that for Jorpa, Limitless, and Mark there's any chance left of taking a win or a podium here. Now Mark and Limitless have been fighting. They're going side by side out of the hairpin. Will somebody go in? And actually, yeah, it is Jorpa as well as Limitless both coming in now. Surely they will go... Oh, that was close. Big lock up there from Limitless.
I don't know how did they manage not to hit each other, but there you go.
Yep,
They
both
didn't.
now going on to soft tires, I assume. Question
Yeah,
is,
okay.
where will they come out? It looks like they will just be only just within the top 10. But knowing that they have now the soft tires, the fastest tires, knowing that they're almost a second quicker, they need to not fight too much against each other and actually kind of work their way a little bit through to just gain some more points.
Lap 20 out of 28, Limitless is in 10th, Yorba is in 9th. They are in a great position to strike back into the top 5 at the very least.
Actually, seeing at the back, we have sort of a little Williams fight there.
Yeah.
Between
Julian.
Ignars and Pui.
We're still waiting for Mark to come in the pit lane. He's obviously 4.5 seconds ahead of Beresnay, but Beresnay, he seems to have slowed down his progress a little bit. He knows that he will be in the lead of the race in just a few hundred meters.
Yeah, the main goal for him right now is just to keep an eye on Silla, keeping that gap a little bit more healthy on the healthy side, above 1 second. So, like personally, let's say around 1.2 seconds, just or 1.2 to 1.5, so that you're on safe side, that you can always like do a short, minor mistake. And now Mark has come in. Surely you also go for the soft tires. Yes, he does. But yeah, now for Berezny, it's all about managing your tires, managing the race. He doesn't have to push, seeing that Modesto is 3.5 seconds behind him, behind Sella, so almost 5 seconds behind him. Knowing he is faster, and he is the fastest. Meanwhile, Andre setting the fastest lap time with a 32.9. Yeah, it's just all the way up to Berezny, maybe even saving up some ERS so that he can fend off whatever attack maybe will come in later from Sella.
We'll have to wait and see.
Actually, taking a look at the back, Mark is fighting on to Daniel. And really close behind them, I believe, there's also, yeah, the Williams driver of Ignars, who's taking back the position from Mark and is now back on P10.
Yeah.
And it's a really close battle. They even touch a little bit, so next up is left hand. Will he make it stick in there? And he does. They touch a little bit more. Doesn't seem like there will be any damage, but both run really wide. Even Mark losing a little bit the rear end there. Surely he's not happy about that. Oh, he's going for it. Oh. That was risky.
That was risky, but, you know, spectacular as well.
Yeah.
That's what we like here.
But seeing how it was, I think Mark even let off a little bit just so he could get the DRS. Because knowing that Ignars now doesn't have DRS, so it actually was a clever idea from him. Meanwhile, behind him, Oxygen has also taken Pui, separating both William drivers. Is that Ligma multi? What?
Limitless has set the fastest lap of the race right now. He's in 6th. He's just behind Manolin. I mean, by that rate, he might even come back to the podium.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, podium probably will be a little bit tough, seeing that from Manolin to Boyan, he's now making the move stick on Manolin. Actually, the gap to Boyan and Modesto is quite big. He needs to make up, if I see correct, 5.5 seconds. Actually, let's see. He currently is on fresh soft tires against Boyan and Modesto, especially on old hards. So he should have probably a good go on Modesto catching up to Boyan. We'll need to wait and see how much his tires were compared to Boyan. But yeah, P3 is still on the table there.
Yeah, definitely. Obviously, looks like Beresnay and Sela are way too far ahead.
Yep. Still both widening the gap to Modesto, so there's no fear between them. It's just a battle for them two on who's gonna win that. Meanwhile, Jorpa has now also taken Manolin. And seeing at the back, I think Mark is now fighting over Daniel. Considering he has a 3-second time penalty, he's gonna lose the positions anyway, but still, Mark is on a mission, trying to make up some moves.
Yeah, looks good for Mark. He's moving up. up into ninth as well. Obviously, he had to make he had to stay out for one lap longer than Limitless and Yorpa, and you see how much it really has cost him compared to his teammate. Because he's ninth, he's way further behind them.
Yeah.
But he's still fighting for good points, and remember, he's the guy who didn't really manage to put together a lap on slicks during Q1, the Q1 session. So he actually started from the back of the grid. He's now in ninth. He made up 10 positions in this race.
Yeah.
He will probably score quite nicely because he's still definitely going to move up into eighth.
Yeah, eighth,
by
definitely.
judging by his pace. Yeah, seventh it might be even possible.
Yeah, for that he really needs to probably step up a notch, just that tiny extra bit. Maybe even hope for some minor mistakes. Luckily, Manolin isn't in the DRS zone anymore, so that's good for him. Meanwhile, looking at the front, Boyan is now within DRS of Modesto, so that will be a fight probably next lap or the lap after that.
And Limitless on the next lap will probably join them.
Is now within 2 seconds of them. Mark now has taken over Tsvetkov, so he's in P8. Now only just shy on, well, actually now down to 4.5 seconds. Making that in 4 laps, he needs to push a second a lap. Actually, let me take a quick look on tires. Well, seeing that Manolin is on 11 laps on the hard tires compared to 2 laps on softs, that could be possible if Mark really is setting some qualifying pace laps now. And meanwhile, Andre has went into the pits and got a 5-second penalty, and he's now DNF'd. So he retired there. So meanwhile, at the front, Berezny still ahead, 1.8 seconds, so actually widened the gap a tiny bit there from Selle. Almost 2 seconds now, those two. And we have a safety car, which changes the entire game.
Oh.
Who crashed? Bayanes.
Like and also Tarabukin.
Yeah, Tarabukin went into the pit lane and he retired. Remember, he got the 5-second penalty for speeding in pits. But Bayanes, or Bajanes, sorry however you pronounce it, as I looked on the minimap, he was standing on the pit entry, which I believe cost a safety car. Now the question is, will maybe Selle risk it of coming in? Seeing that Modesto is only 6 seconds behind him and they're not gonna lose that much time. But no, both are continuing. Actually, Modesto is going to come in, which gives Boyan the chance of running through. Now Limitless back in P4.
Okay, now, obviously, looks like Modesto, Mal, and Mark come in the pit lane. Ted could do the same, so some of the drivers will definitely come in and switch tires to new set of soft tires, but the safety car will come into the pit lane at the end of lap 26. So whatever happens, we have 2 laps of safety car until the end. We will not have the DRS at the end of the race, though. No DRS, because we'll have to... Because the DRS is obviously enabled after 2 full laps of green flag racing, and 2 full laps of green flag racing will bring us to the end of the race. So we'll have a sprint without DRS,
and everybody will probably have a full battery as well.
It looks like a great equalizer, but some guys who have pitted now,
considering,
I don't think they might.
Yeah, seeing it right now, Limitless is definitely on to probably beat Boyan to the line. Seeing how the tires are, Boyan on the fresher set of hard tires. If he would have the same pace as Berezny and Selle, I would definitely give him also a shot, or at least he has the chance of winning the race as well. But yeah, just knowing what Berezny and Selle are both pushing on, I believe that they're just gonna fight it out together. But yeah, definitely, I believe that Limitless, maybe even Jorpa, both have a chance of fighting their way through to P3 now. So that really came in handy for them. Also seeing that at the back almost everyone pitted. Yeah, what do you think? I believe Manolin maybe is on a chance of overtaking another two guys. Same for Mark. Behind that, it's going to be tough to see.
Again, they will have great grip advantage, like a huge grip advantage.
Yep.
But the problem is they will not have the DRS, and everyone will have the same, more or less, the same amount of battery left. It's just a question of how they actually manage the deployment of ERS during those last 2 laps.
Yep.
But, especially Limitless and Yorpa, they are in an amazing situation.
Yep. Also now, considering Daniel as well as Pookie, especially Pookie with the 6-second time penalty, that really is probably going to annoy him, considering that now with the safety car, he definitely, knowing that he's a fast guy, would have had the chance now to make up some positions, but surely you can't make up 6 seconds to the guy behind within 2 laps at the very most.
So just a few meters from us, getting the official confirmation the safety car is coming in at the end of this lap. And the whole fun will begin at the beginning of lap 27 out of 28. You're joining us just ahead of a thrilling, well, sprint finish of the Chinese Grand Prix. Beresnay and Sella are in the lead, Boyan is in third, but Limitless and Yorpa are on soft tires, and they will have a huge advantage due to that. Who's your money on? Just quickly before we come back to the race.
For the race win, Beresnay, then P2 would be Sella. P3, to be honest, I'd probably give it to Limitless. Seeing how he fought through the field. Probably Boyan then P4, Jopra P5, and the rest, that is completely up. I believe that, yeah, in the back. Now actually, let's look at the race start. Or restart.
So we're back racing. Beresnay is already 7/10 up on Sella. Let's look at Limitless because he is just behind Boyan. He has a huge grip advantage, but especially more so of such grip advantage will have guys like Modesto, who is on those new soft tires. Manolin, Mark, Svetko, they are all after pitting for new sets of soft tires after the safety car.
That's really close.
Already tries to make a move on Daniel Girado, and he makes that move stick, I think, in turn.
Yeah,
6.
he's going
So
side by side in the infield now.
Yeah.
Also taking a look quickly at the intervals in the meantime, Beresnay already made up a second to Silla, so he's crazy fast, really on fire there.
Really quick. Yorpa actually seems to be closer to Limitless than Limitless is to Boyan.
Yep, gap there is pretty similar. We'll need to make up use of those good tires now. We'll have to wait and see. Will they make a move now?
Mark actually made a move on Manolin. He's now up in 9th, so but the second Red Bull driver is back inside, well inside the top 10. He's just a second
back
now.
there. Modesto trying maybe to make a move on Ignars, and he can probably make it stick. He's shoving him a little bit, having the better exit, and he's through now on P6.
He's in P6. He looks good. He looks good.
Now
Now
onto the final lap already. Corognolo now with another 3-second time penalty, seeing that he's in P17, that doesn't really matter to him. But meanwhile, Mark, and he's spinning, having contact with Daniel Gurado, and taking out Pookie in the meantime.
Oh, no.
So that really from a bad to a worse to a horrible race for him, sadly.
That's sometimes, that's racing for you, but that's such an unfortunate incident, both for Pookie and Mark also. We have forgotten a little bit about Pookie, but Pookie will lose a lot of points.
Yep.
Because of that, the AlphaTauri team one of those quickest teams, they have lost a lot due to that. But that is sometimes what happens in such sprint races. So Berezne still 1.5 seconds ahead of Sella. He seems to be safe for that win.
Only one more straight away. Sella doesn't have a shot there. I believe Sella should also be fine from Boyan. Now Limitless really having to make the move now. Everybody's driving a little bit of a zigzag. He needs to make a late lunge now, if he wants to get that podium position, but it doesn't really look like. Maybe Modesto is trying to make a move on Ignars, which looks like it's going to work if he can get a good exit there. And it looks like he made it stick, so he's up into P5. Looking at the back, Mark is just being handed through. Maybe even had some... and he's going to spin again!
Oh no.
Which basically is race over for him, 0 points.
But the race is also over with Berezne winning, Sella in second, Boyan in third, Limitless in fourth. Modesto actually recovered into P5 after pitting late in the race, taking on new set of mediums at the final. Well, basically for final 2 laps, Ignars is the driver of the day. I don't know if I if I agree with that, but Danny Berezne, what a showing tonight! That was such a great race by Danny.
Going surely by pace. Definitely my driver of the day is Berezne.
Yeah.
Yep. I mean, can't really make up any positions and moving forward. If you're already in first place, but that definitely was an insane performance by him tonight. Let's actually take a look now at the final standings.
He's insanely confident. Berezne, Sella, Boyan in third, Limitless in fourth, and Modesto Mena in fifth, Yorpa in sixth, Ignars in seventh. He actually made up, well, a lot of positions because he started from 15th on the grid. That's why the game decided he's the driver of the day. Madeline in 8th, Nardi in 9th after, well, quite, I'd say, interesting race because he's had quite a few adventures on the track during that one and still finishing 9th inside the points. Then Oxygen in 10th, Pewy in 11th, Buhankov in 12th, Svetkov in 13th, Daniel Girado in 14th, and Kodor Ninyolo is in 15th, obviously the last one who scores points for tonight's event. Then Mark in 16th, Puki in 17th, and Tarabukin and Behinds have not finished that race. That was a very entertaining race, we have to say.
Yep, definitely. The midfield gave us a strong performance. A lot of fighting in between. I would say the safety car really shook things up now to the end again. Made some possibilities for some other drivers who were in the lucky case of, having a little bit of a gap behind, maybe even jumping some people in the pits. But yeah, all in all, just another amazing race now. Can't wait for the next one, actually.
Yeah, same with me, obviously. We'll try to run the next one next weekend. We don't know how about the game, obviously, because the game still has all those issues with it. But, I mean, this weekend went rather smoothly, so maybe there is a chance the next one also goes rather smoothly.
Yep. Actually, let me switch off over so we don't have the lobby. Want to switch over to the face cam if you want to do some final words? I'll make it easier.
Okay, I just got a news that we have to. Obviously, we can make a quick interview with Danny Berezne. So if he joins us, then we'll give him like 2 questions about how he felt during this race. How does he, how did he feel during the race?
Okay.
And then we'll finish this out. Obviously, we're still waiting for Danny to join us because if he joins us, then we will start this interview.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's just going to be a short one with the race winner. Obviously, something we want to see and something we want to know about is his performance tonight. But as we said, that was a great performance. Well, I'll just ask him about about the strategy, especially because I kind of feel he went a lap too long, personally, as we've said. But okay, I got news that Danny will join us in a minute or two, so
Okay.
we have to wait for him, and he will join us, obviously, for that quick interview, and we'll finish on that note, obviously. Oh, we'll also have Limitless with us, so we'll have like 2 interviews, so we have to wait and see when they join us, because if they join us, then obviously we'll start the interviews and finish on that note this stream.
Yep. I
So we have
suppose if we have a quick segment, we can run through a quick ad for
Okay.
covering the waiting time. So yeah, we'll see you guys in a minute. So now we have the guys in here.
Yes, we have 2 guys with us. We have Limitless with us and Donnie, the race winner from tonight. But let's start with Limitless, who had quite, I'd say, well, not disappointing qualifying session, but he only finished in 10th. But he started on mediums and could make a lot of progress on those tires. How do you feel about this progress with the strategy you chose? Was it perfect for you, or you feel like you could have done something better?
Yeah, going into qualifying, I was really struggling with raw speed around China. That's definitely something I've always really struggled with, and obviously with people like Danny and other pretty amazing drivers in there, I knew it was going to be a pretty difficult task. So to get through to Q3 and mediums was a god's end, and yeah, I decided to do something different in the race. I didn't decide to go to softs, but when everyone pitted before me, I thought I might as well just try and extend it because the tyre life was good, and yeah, it was looking quite good at the end. Without the safety car, it might have been a little bit more. I was quite excited when the safety car came out because I thought maybe Danny's tyres might be finished, but yeah, he just showed how fast he is. So overall, I enjoyed that race quite a lot. So yeah.
So you say that the safety car obviously killed a little bit of your charge at the end of the race, but do you feel like if it came a little bit earlier, if you had a chance to use the DRS in that train, would it have been a better situation for you, or would it have make no difference?
Yeah, it's a difficult one because before the safety car came out, I was closing in very quickly, and I think the guy ahead of me didn't have DRS on the guy ahead of him, so it could have maybe, if my tyres held out, but I think we saw in the first stint, Danny had quite a good lead, and then quite a good lead over me, and then we all came back together by lap 8. So I think after 6 to 7 laps, they just completely die. So I think I probably would have had more of a chance at P2, and I was hoping that the tyres would still be in check, but those guys' tyres were still good at the end, and without the DRS, it's going to be really hard to overtake. So I don't think it would have made too much difference if the safety car came earlier. I think without it, I might have had a better chance, but yeah, overall, I think that's all I was going to get.
So we were basically overall quite happy with how it all went.
Yeah, definitely. Against this level competition, I'm very happy.
So thank you for this short interview. I said that it's going to be like 2 questions, so we have to go to Danny now, who I hope we can hear each other well now. So Danny,
Yo.
because obviously, yeah, you had quite an unbelievable pace for us. We were hoping that you maybe in qualifying were able to jump into 129s, but do you think was it possible, or it's still a little bit too tough for now in Shanghai at this stage of game cycle?
It's possible. We see Nicolas Longa doing that in PSGR, and yeah, that was a pretty amazing performance by him. To be honest, with the setup that I use for the race, it's I don't think possible. With my quali setup with a little bit more sweat, it would be possible, but there is still some minor differences between the version of the game that we use in esports and the normal retail version, so it still needs to take some time to get used to, but I was really happy with that because I could have been faster, but I could not really have been more consistent than this. I could set lap after lap, which were great for front field pace, and yeah, this was a perfect weekend for me.
Okay, and I was just, going to ask you about the strategy, because obviously you started on softs and then went on to mediums, but I felt like, at least from watching from the sideways, I felt like you pitted like a lap too late for me, because obviously you've had the guys who started on mediums catch you just before you pitted for the mediums, but do you feel like that didn't make any difference in the end, or maybe you were a little bit scared that your strategy was going to backfire at that moment?
No, to be honest, I knew it was the right call. I never did this, but I heard it's possible from my teammates, so I tried to do it myself. And seeing how the medium wear out, I think I could have pit a lap earlier and it would have been a little bit faster strategy. But it didn't really matter to me because only Christoph behind me, Selle, the other Hungarian,
Yeah.
was on the same strategy as me, and I know that I am faster than him. So even if he undercuts me and gets maybe 1.5-2 seconds lead, I catch him again with 1 lap fresher tires, and I will win the strategy race anyway. And this 1 lap doesn't really make a difference between all the other strategies. It actually makes it easier because now I had 1 lap fresher tires, which is actually 2 laps in real race distance. So that's quite a significant amount of wear. And at the end, if I need to defend against any other strategies like what GD did or what the usual guys did with the hard, I am in a better position by 1 lap, so I was happy with it.
Okay, cool. So yeah, I think I don't have I don't have more questions for you guys. I think you've answered what we wanted to know, so thank you for joining us, and obviously congratulations for good performances tonight.
Thank you very much, and have a good night, everyone.
Thank you too. So yeah, we're going to finish on that note. So thank you for joining us for tonight's race, and hopefully we'll see you next week. So yeah, Max, do you want to add something?
Not really. Was a lovely race yet again. Happy to be here. Looking forward to the next one. Probably even more tight-packed action racing.
We hope so. So we
Otherwise-
hope so that the next week you'll obviously join us for next events with ORL Champions League, and hopefully it again delivers just as this weekend. So thank you for joining us tonight, and good night.
Good night.